Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this session on profiling of top non-IIM business schools. So today we are going to discuss about JBIMS and FMS, two old and government-owned business schools which are more known for their ROI as well as the student performance, their alumni performance, and also because they have a pedigree of being from two major universities of India. These B schools are very sought out for. So first, let us talk about FMS. And FMS, as we all know, established in 1954. And as the college states, it's a symbol where ideas and knowledge converge. And being around 70 years old college, the alumni of FMS, Delhi University, they have been at the top of various industries, various conglomerates, and have brought laurels to the country. So what are the different programs offered by FMS? So the first and foremost, which we are going to talk in detail today, is MBA full-time program. They also have part-time programs, which are more for people living in and around Delhi, because these are all offline programs. And these part-time programs are more for working professionals with minimum 4 to 5 years of experience. They have doctoral programs for students who wish to go into teaching, who wish to go into research. There are some very good PhD programs available by FMS. They have some small MDP, that is management development programs, which are more like a week or a 15 days program on specific topics, usually company sponsored programs. But today we'll talk more about full-time MBA. So basically it's a 2-year full-time MBA program, which is run by FMS. And the good part is that this is under Delhi University. And that is why they give an MBA degree. Okay. There are various institutes, including the IIMs, of course, which are autonomous institutes and which give a postgraduate diploma. Whereas FMS, being under a university, gives MBA. There is no difference as such, but yes, still you can say it's something wherein in your degree it will be written as MBA. However, both PGDBM and MBA have equal weightage in terms of if you want to go for further studies or you want to go for a job. Now, let's talk about the eligibility criteria. So FMS clearly mentions that students should have a bachelor's degree after 12 years of schooling. Now, there are many students who do 10th and then they go for a diploma and then they do a bachelor's degree. Even though that is not explicitly mentioned here, but they also are eligible. Okay. In the bachelor's degree, minimum 50% marks is required for open category. However, if you are from any of the reserved category, then it is 45% marks. The 45 or 50% marks is calculated as per your graduation, university or college. And please keep in mind that you have to furnish an official copy of the CGPA to percentage comparison in case your university or college gives CGPA. So you need to give an official copy. In many universities or colleges, behind your mark sheet only, the formula for conversion will be printed, but not in all. Wherever it is not printed, it is always recommended to take an official stamped copy of conversion formula from the college or the university, whichever be the case. The students who are still in final year, let's say if we are talking about academic year 26-28, in that case, if you are graduating from your bachelor's degree in 2026, you are still eligible. Okay, irrespective of your marks. However, once you get admission and you go to join the college, you need to prove that you have minimum 50% marks if you are from the open category and 45% marks if you are from the particular reserved category. So FMS is one college which does not give weightage to your academic performance, at least while giving you interview calls. So they, for the interview call, they give weightage to CAT, but it is not equal weightage to all sections. So 40% weightage is given to score of VARC, verbal ability and reading comprehension. Just 40% weightage is given to that, 30% each to DILR and QA. And how do they give this weightage? The weightage is multiplied with your percentile in the respected, you can say, section, and then accordingly the total is calculated. So your VARC percentile will be multiplied by 0.4, your DILR percentile will be multiplied by 0.3, and QA percentile will be multiplied by 0.3. The sum of all these will give you a weighted score. With this weighted score will only be for giving you interview calls. However, to encourage gender diversity, 5 marks or additional 5 points, you can say, in the weighted score is given to the female candidates. So whatever their score comes, obviously it cannot go over 100%, but a 5-point additional will be added to their scores. Now, once this comes in, and then you go through the, let's say, the final process. The interview calls are over. You are given your interview, the phase 2 per se of admission. Then the scoring is very clear. This weightage score of CAT will become from 100 to 50. So they will half it. That is a 50% weightage. Now, if you have scored between 60 and 75% in your class 10, you will get 5% marks. Above 75, you will get 10%. Same goes for class 12. Between 60 and 75, 5%. Above 75, 10%. If it is below 60, you will get 0. Then FMS for its stage 2 goes for a discussion on statement of purpose. Basically, you'll have to write an SOP, statement of purpose, and this will be discussed in detail during your interview process. So 10% weightage is given to the same, 5% to extempore. Extempore, usually FMS gives any recent topic and then you will have to speak on that. And that is where general awareness plays a very big role in terms of admissions to FMS. And then personal interview, which has 15% weightage. Okay. And female candidates, they have already received in the weighted CAT score initial part, but here they will get 5%, which will not be part of the weighted CAT score. That will be part of overall now. So the weighted CAT score, which was used for initial part, their 5 marks additional, which were given to the female candidates, will not become 2.5 here. Okay, they'll become 0 while taking the weighted CAT score. And in the overall marks, again 5 marks will be given to the female candidates. Okay, so that's how they'll calculate the total score, and basis the total score, FMS will then give you final calls. So those sanctioned seats are 251. However, FMS typically calls student more than 300, and usually between 300 to 325 students join FMS every year. So they have, because the waitlist cannot be opened one by one typically, so they open in batches, and that is why usually the number of any college, it's not only FMS, it's slightly over or above the sanctioned seats. So there are 101 open category seats, 37 for scheduled caste and 19 scheduled tribes, 69 for OBC NC, and economically weaker section 25. Now these scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and OBC are defined as per central government criteria. So if a caste as per central government classification comes under scheduled caste, only then FMS will be considering you under scheduled caste. Please understand, Delhi is a union territory and Delhi University is a central university. And that is why all these reservation criteria will be of central government. Now, there are some supernumeracy seats. Now, what does supernumeracy seat means? Supernumeracy seats means that they will be given the preference. But in case they are not available there, these particular type of students have not applied, then these seats will remain either will open category or the particular reserved categories. Also, these seats will be divided accordingly in the different categories as well. So there are 12 seats with person with disability, the physically handicapped people. There are 12 for children and widow of defense personnel. 25 seats are allotted to foreign students, 6 to Delhi University teachers wards, and 6 to Delhi University non-teachers wards, and 2 in the orphan quota. But these seats, as I said, may not necessarily be filled by a particular type of students. In case they are available, yes. In case they are not available, then these seats will remain as it is for the open category or for the SC, ST or OBC category, as the case may be. Now, coming to the best part of FMS, and that is their fee structure. So fees currently, and it is subject to change for next year, it's 58,000 per semester. One difference when we compare, let's say, with IIMs, and we say the fees there is 25 lakh to 30 lakh compared to this 2.5 lakh. IIMs fees also include hostel fee, mess fee, as well as the books fee, which is not counted here. But even if you count there, because FMS or Delhi University rather has got some hostels, the fees for hostel is separate. And you are allowed to take room in those hostels, though not everybody takes it. Some people like to maybe live on rented accommodation, or some people might be from Delhi only, or might have some relatives in Delhi. But even if we take that into consideration, let's say a typical cost of living, I'll add maybe 50,000 to 60,000 typically per month in terms of our room rent and food, everything. Even then, if you see, FMS comes at a very low cost compared to most of the other institutes. However, IIMs, as they have a residential program, you live in hostel, compared to, let's say, FMS, wherein even though you might be living in hostel, but you will be living with maybe many other courses students and not necessarily FMS students. So you might meet new people, maybe from new different, I'll say, academic subjects. But unlike IIMs, all these students in a residential program will not be living together. That's maybe a flip side, but overall, in terms of the academics, in terms of the fees, I'll say FMS still scores much better than many other colleges in India. So this is the batch profile for 24-26 batch. So 320 students, as I said, typically they take around between 300 to 325 students. 48% of them are female, which is not very surprising because college encourages females by giving them 5% weightage as well. And because of that, it's good that they are very close to, I'll say, the ideal 50-50 ratio, which is very nice in the case of FMS. Harshit, I've read your question. We'll come to JBIMS in some time. I'll basically request you to hold on till then. Right? I'll come to that part. Now, coming to the students of different academic background, so we can see around 52% are engineers, 32% from commerce background, or let's say the business administration background, also chartered accountants. So this becomes around 84%, and 16% remaining come from various other backgrounds, which can be maybe BSc, maybe BA, which can be maybe B Pharma, which can be from medical or legal backgrounds as well. So out of the total students who had work experience, we'll come to the distribution of work experience as well, the students' level of work ex. So 12% students had prior experience in terms of finance, 14% in consulting, 25% IT and ITES, and 16% came from manufacturing companies, right? The others from miscellaneous fields. So 54% freshers. And one of the major reasons for this is there is no weightage for work experience in FMS. The weightage is only for 10th, 12th, and your CAT score, and then eventually your SOP discussion, your personal interview, and along with that, your extempore, plus a weightage for gender diversity. There is zero weightage for work experience there. So when students say that if you want to be into a top B school, you should have work ex, it's actually a myth. It's more like that people with work ex, because they prepare maybe 1 or 2 years more than others, tend to get much better scores in CAT. So eventually what counts is your CAT score, especially for FMS. So focus more on getting a better CAT percentile rather than all the other noise which you might get on various mediums. So coming to the placement in terms of their SIP, which is summer internship placements. So basically summer internships are 8 weeks to 2 months, by and large similar time period in various organizations. And this is where various companies come and they maybe take you for 2 weeks training, and most of the companies will also give you a project to be done, right? So on an average, the stipend top 10% you can see was 4.42. Top 50% is 3.73 lakh. This is for 2 months. So total offers accepted in terms of profiles. So 28% were from sales and marketing, 12% finance, 12% production, operations, IT, around 13% consulting, 35% consulting, and 13% were general management. So overall, the average stipend was 2.68 lakh with a median at 3 lakh. And here you can see the comparison of 3 different batches in terms of average stipend, which has been increasing by and large over the years. Some of the big companies which visited FMS campus in terms of summer internship placements. So that's a mix of, I'll say, some good multinational as well as Indian companies. So you can see Aditya Birla Group there, you can see CK Birla Group there, you can see Airtel, right? You can see Dabur, you can see Country Delight, which is a homegrown firm, right? So it's a mix of all these. Now, these are the companies which offered live projects. Now, what are live projects and why they matter? So live projects are typically offered by companies to solve a current problem to the students. It might be paid, it might not be paid, usually it is. But herein, just like in a summer internship, you have to be literally at the, let's say, campus or at the site in terms of delivering to the company. These are usually done along with your education within the colleges only. But wherein they might give you a problem to solve. They might give you data to crack or whatever. They might even ask you to do surveys. Like I remember during my college days, we were given a survey by Philips Lighting Company, and we had to visit the lighting companies in Delhi NCR area and meet those companies and get those survey done for them. So these live projects are basically not only data gathering or data crunching, it's actually a live problem solving. And that is why they hold a lot of weightage, whether they are paid or not. Once inside a college, these live projects count a lot in addition to your internship in terms of the summer internship placements. So, and not every college get good live projects, but FMS gets a lot out of them, right? I can see Mantra here, and in fact, Mantra CEO also happens to be from FMS. So, maybe once you are in FMS, you can get in contact with her as a senior as well, in addition to being you can say a CEO of Mantra.com. So the latest data officially available on FMS site for their final placement was for 21-23 batch. Unfortunately, they have not put in the current data, and hence because it is not official, I will not like to go into that. So whatever official latest I was able to get, that is what we are showing you here. So the average CTC was 34.1 lakh per annum, which was highest ever till 2023. I can confirm to you that it has gone beyond that in recent years. However, for the lack of official data, I cannot give you a figure. So 97% student received offer beyond 20 lakh per annum. So if you take the batch size as nearly 300 students, so you can say around 290 students got more than 20 lakh per annum. So around 10 students were below 10. So even if I take a figure of 20 lakh per annum in terms of CTC, in terms of the fees paid, the ROI comes to be brilliant, right? And one good thing about FMS is the number of pre-placement offers which the student gets. Now, what are pre-placement offer? So once you join in a college, you go for a summer internship placement. And if you do good in summer internship placement, the companies give you offers to join then and there. Sometimes they just send it to the college that so-and-so student has done very good in terms of their summer internship placement, and we would like to extend them a offer. And you are placed. Okay, so there are different colleges, different years have different policy in terms of whether you can sit for other companies or not. I'll not go into that because the policy change every year as per the market conditions. But getting pre-placement offers is yes, that is something which counts. And FMS, as you can see, the students get a good amount of pre-placement offers, which again shows the I'll say the level of the college, which is anyway brilliant. Okay, so if you guys have any question on FMS, please type it out in the chat and I'll be more than happy to answer these to you. Right? So we will now move to Jamnalal Bajaj Group, the Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Study, JBIMS. Now, JBIMS was founded in 1965, so it is nearly 60 years old institute now. And they have always been a pioneer in management education, especially in the western side of the country, because they came up in Mumbai. Like FMS we were discussing, that is in Delhi, and JBIMS came up in Mumbai. JBIMS and FMS, I'll say both have been constantly within the top 10 of the country. These are old colleges and they have a legacy, and they have, I'll say, done justice with their legacy. Their alumni have just done justice to them, obviously, along with the professors. JB offers MMS, Masters in Management Studies, which is MBA. Just because Mumbai University calls it MMS, they give a degree of MMS. But for all practical purpose, as I said, MBA, MMS, and even PGDBM or PGDM, PGBM, whatever the college calls it, they are all equivalent in terms of jobs, in terms of foreign education, if you wish to, in terms of multinational jobs in foreign placements, if you ask for, or even in terms of, let's say, higher education like PhD, if you wish to do in India. So they have completely equal weightage. In fact, some colleges, as we know, hold more weightage than others, and both JBIMS and FMS holds great weightage, I'll say equivalent to IIMs in terms of the overall image in the country, right? And JB being one of the initial colleges as well, so is FMS. We all know XLRI started in 1948 and FMS in 54, and very few colleges were there. And as JB has been constantly performing as a very good college. Now, JB offers 5 programs. The first is MMS, which we are going to discuss in detail. The second is MSc Finance, which we are going to discuss in detail. The third is MHRD, which again we will discuss today. The fourth is part-time MMS, which is very much equivalent to part-time MBA, what we talked about FMS as well, right? Which we will not talk in detail today. It is more for maybe Mumbai people who have 4 to 5 years work experience and they want to do a part-time MBA or MMS. And the next is PhD, which again we are not going to discuss in detail. So MMS, again, it's a 2 years full-time management course. And though the degree, it is giving a degree because it is under Mumbai University, but the college has been recently declared autonomous. Okay, now this dual thing, that autonomous as well as university, helps JB in a very big way. How? I'll tell you. Being autonomous, JBIMS is free to decide their syllabus. And being under a university, they are giving a degree. So they are not bound by the Mumbai University syllabus. They are bound by many of the Mumbai University rules, but they are not bound by the Mumbai University syllabus, which in an MBA program is a very good thing. Because if you have a rigid syllabus, which any university has, typically the universities revise their syllabus 5 to 7 years, every 5 to 7 years, and they are fixed. So whichever college you go within that university, you have to go for a fixed syllabus. Right? Arjun, I'll answer your I'll answer your question. Sorry, I'll answer your question. Don't worry. This is what we will discuss in detail today. Don't worry. So the university syllabus is not is bit rigid. I'll say 5 to 7 years revision. Whereas in the case of JB being autonomous, they are free to revise their syllabus every year. Now, how does this help? This helps any college to teach anything which is current, which is now required without even thinking. If they have a faculty who can take that course, they will just ask the faculty to take that course. They don't have to wait for university to acknowledge that, oh, AI is a booming field today, let's have a course on AI. No, if JB sees, oh, AI is a booming course, they will start it then and there. They'll just float an elective in second year and the students will go for it. They don't need university's permission that, oh, can you please introduce a course in AI? Then a committee will sit, that committee will form the syllabus, it will be going through various levels, it will be approved, so on and so forth. So no such thing is typically required in the case of JB, right? So that is a very good thing. And that is where I say that JB is basically helping you in two ways. Now, course is divided into 4 semesters, right? And typically 8 to 12 weeks internship is there, which is your summer internship placement. And they offer courses in finance, marketing, operation, HR, and systems. Now, how do they offer it? They give a plethora of electives. Basis the number of electives you choose from a particular field, your specialization will be selected. So it's up to you after your first year, after your 2 semesters, which particular specialization you wish to go for. And believe me, JBIMS is known for all specializations. The placement is across. Sorry. So you don't need to worry about that in case of JB. Obviously, also for FMS, whichever specialization we have seen in case of the job profile of FMS, the summer internship profile, especially, we saw the breakup. Students go across the profiles. Now, JB typically has a batch size between 150 to 160, which I'll say is good and bad both. Why good? Because being a small batch, the placements are brilliant. The focus is there. But being a small batch in such a large country, you can imagine very few students are eventually able to make it to such good colleges. And maximum students are not able to get such good education or such good pedigree. Okay. Curriculum benchmark with best in industry. This is the best and the unique thing about JB. When I said that they revise their syllabus literally every semester, not even year, which is very nice thing about JBIMS. Coming to eligibility criteria, just like FMS, they also require 50% marks in aggregate. However, there is one difference here. Here, 50% is required for both open category and OBC NC. For others, it is 45. For PWD, for backward class. Also, because JB comes under Mumbai University, which comes under Government of Maharashtra, the reservation is as per Government of Maharashtra rules. Even if it is on all India quota, we'll talk about all India quota, the reservation will be as per Government of Maharashtra rules. It will not be as per central government or any other state. Okay. And final year students can also apply. Your college or your university should be recognized either by UGC or by Association of Indian University. So as I said, total intake is between 150 to 160. They don't take more than 160 and they don't take usually less than 150 as well. So out of these 100% seats, 85% seats, let's take the maximum 160. So 85% of that, which is 136, is Maharashtra quota. The remaining 36 seats, 134 and 36, the remaining 36 seats are all India seats. Okay. Now these Maharashtra quota seats are again 42.5% general category, the other is reserved, and same goes for the all India quota. The good point about JB, similar to FMS, fees right now for 2 years comes to around 6,01,000 rupees. This does not include books, this does not include hostel or mess, which again, in a city like Mumbai, minimum 50,000 per month you're gonna spend on your lodging, boarding, and your mess fees. But even then, it is much cheaper, I'll say, than many other good colleges equivalent to JB or FMS. Both these colleges, the fees comes very less. However, somebody who is looking for loans, here you will only get loan for the tuition fee. Whereas in the case of IIMs, when the banks give loan, they consider total fee, which includes mess, hostel, and books. So this is one negative point, especially for I'll say people who are not economically well off, that in terms of their lodging, boarding, and their mess and books fee, they'll have to maybe take it out from their own pockets, because only the tuition fee will be by and large covered by the bank loans. Now, this is the I'll say something which you need to consider. So JB only takes on the basis of your entrance exam percentile. Only that percentile is considered, provided you have minimum 50 or 45% marks, as the case may be. As the case may be. Okay. If you clear this, there is no consideration for your 10th, 12th marks. There is no consideration for your graduation marks beyond this. Minimum you have to clear. There is no consideration to your level of work X or anything else. There is no interview, there is no GD. The only consideration is your percentile. Now, if you are from Maharashtra, the 85% quota for Maharashtra, which I showed, will basically be taken by Maharashtra CET, Maharashtra MBA CET. The Maharashtra government, the Department of Technical Education in Maharashtra, conducts 19 different types of CET every year. Okay, so we are talking about MBA CET here. So in the case of open category, the cutoff this year was 99.94, and it was exactly same as last year, 99.94. Now, why 99.94? So around 1,20,000 to 1,25,000 students every year I'll say go for CET. So if we take 0.06 percentile, typically, right? So 0.06 of, let's say, 1,25,000. So that becomes somewhere around 75 students. That's it. And if you see the seats in JB for open category, they come to somewhere around similar number. So because let's say 160 total seats, 85% of that becomes 134, half of that becomes 67. So that is the level that you have to be at the top of your game to enter JBIMS. And similar numbers you can see for other categories as well, for scheduled caste and OBC as well. Similar numbers, 99.51, 99.81. Because as I said, seats are less. For all India category, what JB does is they consider these 7 exams, provided you don't have Maharashtra domicile. Okay. If you have Maharashtra domicile, you will be considered under Maharashtra category. If you don't have Maharashtra domicile, you are from all India domicile, then out of these 7 tests, your percentile is considered. And if you get, let's say, 99.98 percentile in CAT and 99.99 in MAT, the MAT percentile is higher than the CAT one. That's how JB takes it. Irrespective of the exam, they don't give any weightage to which exam you have given. It's only your percentile which that matters, and basis the percentile, then they select the students for these all India seats. Now, if you see all India seats, as I said, there are maximum 36 seats. Half of that, 18 are for open category. Even in that 18, you have around 2 seats reserved for EWS. So the unreserved seat per se, in fact, one can even go to PWD. So unreserved seats per se, if you see, are nearly 15 to 16. 7 exams they're considered. And that is why the cutoff is 99.99 percentile, which is same for last 7 years, at least. The data which we have seen, at least for last 7 years, all India cutoff has been 99.99. Whether you come through CET, whether you come through CAT, ZAT, GMAT, MAT, ATMA, any of these exams. Okay. So, Arjun, if you hold Maharashtra domicile, I'll recommend you to go through Maharashtra CET as compared to maybe other exams. Maybe CMAT or maybe MAT, ATMA, if you hold Maharashtra domicile. If you don't hold Maharashtra domicile, even then you are free to give all the exams because they will consider your best percentile. So let's say you got 99.99 in CAT and you got 99.98 in ZAT. So they will consider 99.99. The good thing about the JB admission or the Maharashtra CET usually happens in March. And JB admissions, typically all these forms you will get typically around April end or May. So by then, nearly all these exams percentile will already be out. CMAT usually used to happen by May, but this year, for the current batch, it was conducted in January. Right now also the forms of CMAT are out, but they have not given the date when they are going to conduct CMAT this year. But still, I'll say it's fine. But typically, if they conduct in January, February or so it's okay. By the time you go for JB admission process, your results will be out. You will be aware which percentile is the best and from which to apply for. The CET forms are also still not out. Typically, they'll be out by January. So you have a lot of time to think about CET exams. Okay. Which will be the best exam to get 99 in terms of difficulty? Now, Arjun, this depends from person to person. Okay. MAT and ATMA, CMAT, I think you can try these exams in terms of percentile because typically CAT, ZAT, GMAT, these being more, I'll say, exams which have much better institutes available. Of course, JB is one of them. I'm not saying that, but the whole point is a lot of, you can say, good students appear for CAT, ZAT, GMAT more than I'll say for CMAT, MAT or ATMA. So these exams are typically not in the line for some of the top students. So why not try it out? And if you get through JB, even if you have spent some more on the fees of these exams, overall it won't matter because JB's fees will more than justify the admission. So my opinion, if you are really willing to go for JB, try the other exams, especially MAT, ATMA and CMAT as well. Yeah. Okay. Please tell other colleges lower fees and top quality placements for marketing. Harshit, unfortunately, now what you mean by top quality placements? Because there is a college like Simsri in Maharashtra, which is through CAT. There are colleges of low fee like I'll say every state has one, the state government colleges typically, but unfortunately, the placements are not that great everywhere. So JB and FMS stand out brilliantly, whether it is marketing, whether it is finance, whether it is IT or anything consulting. I think these two colleges stand out uh, very much in comparison to other colleges and brilliant colleges. Both of these colleges we see have been into top 10 for last 50, 60 years consistently, every year after year, and their alumni have been performing brilliantly in the industry. Both these colleges have got great reputation. Means if a person comes and say, oh, if I'm from FMSDU or I'm from JBIMS, they hold, I'll say, equal weightage as good as an IIM, right? Many a times I see on social media people asking whether I should go for FMS or IIM Ahmedabad. So that is the level of these colleges, and we can see the level of cutoff of JBIMS here, and I think that in itself shows that it is sought out for from the by the toppers. So, but unfortunately, there are not many such colleges which have low fee and still such great placements. Yeah. Okay. So Rohan, Symbiosis, TIS, FMS. Actually, there are more government colleges. I think IFT used to have. I'm not sure right now. You can check it out. IFT used to have. MDI has a special program for defense personnel, but not for defense kids. Okay, so because MDI was actually established for defense people. The when it was established in I think 1974, the concept was they had a school of public policy. It was actually started for defense people who wish to go into industry. So typically they had a 6 month initially bridge course for them, and then I think in 1992 or 94, when Professor Pritam Singh, the then the founding director of IIM Lucknow, retired from IIM Lucknow, and he was appointed director of MDI Gurgaon. Professor Pritam Singh then started the current what you call as the PGDBM program as well. I think 1994 he started. So our time Delhi faculty now, unfortunately, no more. Ankur Jain sir was the first graduate of that batch of from MDI, right? So you can check with MDI, right? IFT, as I said, used to give. I don't know the current situation. Please do check. IFT surely used to give, right? Current situation, because previously IFT used to happen through their own exam, and now for last 2 3 years, just like FMS, they have also merged through CAT. So few things have changed, and now because IFT has opened more campus as well outside Delhi, they have two more campus now. Though MBA is only in two campus out of three. Kakinada does not offer MBA, but still, please go and check there. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about the MSc Finance of JBIMS. Now, this is a degree focused on finance, and in industry, this has got equal weightage to MBA finance. In fact, more weightage than that, because this is a specific finance degree. Okay, so if you are looking only towards finance, only finance, this is a degree sought out for. Recently started by JB, so not much data in terms of placement. However, the batch gets fully placed with a brilliant packages, just like their MMS course. The again the good or the bad part, JB, there are only 40 seats. 40 seats only in this particular course. Okay. 2 years full-time course, 4 semesters. Fees is quite similar to your MBA program, right? And a brilliant program, I'll say overall. However, the issue is 40 seats, and hence very high competition, just like MMS. Now, what is the eligibility criteria? The eligibility criteria is very simple. Either you have to give CAT or MBA CET, or students who have cleared the prelims or main exam for UPSC. So if you have cleared prelims and main exam of UPSC, you are eligible for MSc Finance. Okay, or Maharashtra MBA CET or CAT. Now, Maharashtra MBA CET you can give as a Maharashtra domicile or as an All India candidate, both. Both. Here, it doesn't matter. There is no Maharashtra domicile quota here, right? This is an open course. However, the reservation criteria will apply as per Maharashtra government because it is a Maharashtra government college. It will not be as per All India quota. Also, this year, Maharashtra CET, the DT, Directorate of Technical Education, Government of Maharashtra, had declared in May this year that Maharashtra MBA CET from 26 onwards will only happen in Maharashtra. They will not have any center out of Maharashtra. Last year, they had one in Bihar. And in fact, 8 out of top 20 students, you can say, were from that center. Okay. However, there was no wrongdoing proven as such. So I'll not even the officials did not said anything about that. So let me clarify that also. But they said to remove all doubts from this year, there will be no center outside Maharashtra. So if you intend to give Maharashtra MBA CET, the tentative dates will be out by November end. Usually they give by November end. The forms will be coming in January. The exam will happen in March. Or like this year, it happened on 1st, 2nd, 3rd April because in March, it initially clashed with Mumbai University exams. So they postponed it by 10 days. So be ready. By and large, they'll happen in March, as I said, after most of the other exams. But you'll have to come to Maharashtra to give these exams. If you are a student not from Maharashtra domicile. For MSc Finance, Maharashtra domicile is not required. But there is another criteria here that you should have opted for mathematics. Either at your 12th class or your graduation level. So that is a necessity because finance contains a lot of mathematics. So the students, especially the commerce students who have done maybe maths till class 8 or 10, sorry. These are the cutoffs. Now, these cutoffs does not guarantee you admission. Okay, these cutoffs guarantee you a consideration. Now, what is consideration? Okay, so as I said previously also, just like FMS or JB's admission we talked about, we said JBIMS takes your percentile as your marks or whatever you wish to call it. Okay, so that percentile is then considered in the application rating score. Now, how is application rating score calculated? We'll come to that. Okay. However, these are the minimum percentile required in the respected exam. And because the forms will usually open in June and or July, by then you will also be receiving your CAT as well as your MBA CET percentiles. So if you get percentile above this, only then you should apply. Otherwise, obviously your forms will be rejected. And because there are only 40 seats, obviously more than 40 students would have already applied with more than that percentile, right? So be considerate of that. Okay. Now, 10th and 12th for general category, 60% is the minimum requirement. And reserve category, 55% is the minimum requirement. Minimum requirement. This is you have to bring. Now, for application rating score, what they'll do, they'll take your CAT, MBA CET or UPSC scores and percentile accordingly. 60% weightage is given to that. 15% to your 10th, 12th and graduation marks. Okay. They have not declared how much to which, but typically a student, they are told me it is 5% each. Extracurricular or work experience have 20% weightage. Now, typically work experience peak at 36 months. Okay, you get highest marks at 36 months. Now, what is extracurricular? Extracurricular weightage is only given if you have done something nationally or internationally. So you cannot say that I came first in quiz in my school. No. But if you came first in some national level quiz or an international level quiz, some spell bee contest, maybe you are a national, you might have played Ranji Trophy, or maybe you might have gone to some international mathematical Olympiad, yes, you will surely get weightage. Right? 5% diversity, which is typically for female candidates. Right? So basis this application rating score, around 400 students for 40 students. Okay, it is 1:10 ratio. So 200 open category, 200 reserved category students will be getting a call for in-person assessment, which is round 2. Now, in-person assessment will comprise of group activity, which is more or less like a GD, but yes, you have to perform some task there. Okay, so one group activity which comes to my mind, just to give you an example. So you will be given ropes in a group, and you will be told to make the rope in such a way that one of your let's say teammate will stand up on that rope, and you will have to hold that rope for 1 minute, such that that person does not touches the ground for 1 minute 60 seconds. Okay, with the help of those ropes. So similar group exercises, group activities will be given to you, and 20% weightage is for that group activity in IPA, in person assessment. 60% or the maximum weightage you can see is for your personal interview, and 20% to writing aptitude test VAT, which is more or less like a analytical test in terms of writing, right? So IPA will have a separate score, and your application rating score will be separate. Now 60% of the application rating score and 40% of your IPA will become your total score for final call. So if you see, your CAT or CAT or your UPSC score will eventually in the final call have 36% weightage. Your 10th, 11th, your 10th, 12th and graduation degree eventually will have 9% weightage. Your work ex extracurricular eventually 12% weightage, so on and so forth. So the maximum weightage will still remain with your CAT, CET or your UPSC score, and then will come to the personal interview. Okay. Shivangi, in terms of the exam, if we say MMS, in terms of the MMS program of JBIMS, yes, they accept CMAT for their All India quota, which is the 15% of the seats of MMS out of 150 to 160 seats in MMS, which they typically fill every year. So you can say for those 15%, which is nearly, I'll say 16 plus 8, 24 seats, right? For that 24 seats only, they accept CMAT. Now coming to the Human Resource Development Program of JB, which is very, very recent, even compared to finance program. Finance program is now around 4 years old. The HRD program is hardly 2 years old. So it is Master in Human Resource Development. So it's an HR Human Resource Program. And believe me, there are very few institutes whose HR program is very good. So XLRI, TIS, MDI, SCMHRD, and maybe JBIMS. They come at the top. So if you are really willing to go for HR, these 5 institutes, I'll say, are to go by. Right? And JB is again, because of its overall campus being in Mumbai, they are brilliant to go for. But again, similar problem, 30 seats only. So MDI has got around 60 seats. XLRI, I think, now has around 180 seats, if I'm not wrong. I think that was covered in the last session. TIS is more so on HR. There are various programs on HR. They are more into MA HR, I'll say OD and HR. SCMHRD also has got some good programs in HR, and JB with only 30 seats. Even in those 30, 15 are open category and 15 are as per Maharashtra government reservation. However, Maharashtra domicile is not required for this. Okay. Here only Maharashtra MBA CET or CAT is eligible. Only Maharashtra MBA CET or CAT. UPSC, which was eligible one of the eligibility criteria for MSc Finance, is not for MHRD. So these are the cutoffs again, and you can see 60% or above is required in 10th, 60% or above in 12th, and 50% or above in your graduation degree. Okay, these are for general categories. No, CMAT is not considered for MSc Finance or MHRD. CMAT is only considered for MMS. There are 3 programs of JBIMS, as I am telling, typically for a graduate. Only one, that is MMS, considers CMAT. Whereas MSc Finance and MHRD does not consider CMAT. They only consider Maharashtra CET, Maharashtra MBA CET or CAT. MSc Finance also considers UPSC, provided you have cleared both prelims and mains and have got a call for interview in the same year, not previous years. So reserved category, 55% is the minimum requirement for 10th and 12th, and 40% for 45% for the graduation degree. Now here the cutoffs are a bit lower in terms of your Maharashtra CET and CAT percentile. So for a general candidate, even if you have 80 percentile, you can apply, and 90 percentile in MBA CET. Reserved category 75 and 80 for CAT and MBA CET respectively. Now, basis this, your in-personal assessment you will be getting basis these scores only. There is no consideration to anything else. And for 30 seats, they'll call into 10, 300 students for the next round. The in-person assessment here will again have group activity, PI and VAT, just like the MSc Finance. However, the weightages are different. Here, the weightage to group activity, and rightly so, because this is an HR program, is 40%. Personal interview, the weightage is 50%. There it was 60%, if you remember, right? And writing aptitude test, it will be 10%. Okay. So overall, it will be 50-50 to your CAT or MHCET score and 50 to your IPA. Whereas in MSc Finance, it was 60 to your application rating score, which was your CAT as well as your WorkX, your 10th, 12th graduation, and extracurriculars and diversity. Here, there is no score for diversity. Okay. And 40 to IPA there in MSc Finance. Whereas in MHRD, 50% to your CAT or Maharashtra CET percentile and 50% to your IPA. However, remember one thing, if you get, let's say, 98 percentile in CAT and 98 in MHCET, they'll be considered same for JBIMS purpose. Okay, they do not differentiate between the exams that it is a Maharashtra exam or this is an all India exam. No, 98.02 percentile of Maharashtra CET will be considered better than 98.01 percentile of CAT. Okay, that's how the system works. Now, these are some of the summer placements highlights of the batch of 23-25. This batch actually graduated this year, but JB has not given this year's summer placement details. This is what is officially available. And as I already said, I'll not go beyond official things. So you can see on the left-hand side at the lower bottom, the bottom of left-hand side, freshers 35%. Now, this is overall for the MMS program only. This is MMS program only. Okay, 35% freshers. 0 to 12 months experience, 20%. Again, remember, there is no weightage for WorkX here, just like FMS. There is no weightage. Right? So, but still, there are people with more than 36 months experience. So, out of 157 students in this particular batch, average WorkX was 19 months. 85% males, 15% females. So mean was 2.27 lakh stipend. The median was 2.4 lakh as stipend. Highest 4.5 lakh. Okay. So they got all roles: management consulting, investment banking, equity research, financial planning, credit analyst, general management, project management, strategy, and sales and marketing. You can also see the names of some of the major recruiters here. Okay. And in terms of the internships, in terms of the type of companies, The banking and financial sector, the banking financial sector insurance, you can say, was around 28%, consulting 13, fast moving consumer goods and pharmaceuticals companies around 21, IT and e-commerce 11, manufacturing and other conglomerates around 16%. Students taking, this is not on the basis of split of the company, this is on the basis of offers given to the students. Okay. Now, these are the placement highlights. These are of batch last year, but as I said, these are the latest, I'll say, official data available in terms of the placement. And you can see at the right hand corner at the top, we invite you to the CEO factory. JBIMS is also nicknamed as a CEO factory, right? And they are a brilliant institute, no doubt about that, right? So you can see here 159 students in this batch with average experience of around 13 months. Okay, so 73 plus PPOs or PPI. Now, PPI is pre-placement interview. In case of PPOs, the company, based on your summer placement, directly gives you an offer. In case of PPI, they'll say that, okay, you are directly shortlisted for the final interview at the campus when we come for recruitment. And you will be given a preference, right? So these are PPOs and PPIs, which, as I have already discussed, are something which shows the image of the institute and their students. A good number of PPO and PPIs is shows something really brilliant in terms of the college per se, right? In terms of specializations, you can see, so around 33% students opted for marketing in this batch. Okay, 63 for finance. Educational background, around 81% engineering graduates. Unfortunate, but true. Uh, we are still waiting when maybe other degrees will also have equal, if not more, share in terms of the MBA degrees. Right. So more than 55 companies visited, and you can see the mean was 26 lakh, the median was 26.4. So mean and median were quite similar to each other, and the highest package was around 87 lakh per annum. Yeah, and all types of roles were offered. Right. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm still open to your questions. If you guys have any question, please type it out in the chat, and I'll happy to uh, discuss the same. Yeah. Okay. So Ishan, I think I've answered your question already. Shivnani, I've answered your question. Rohan, I've also answered your question. All right then. Thank you very much, and all the best to all of you for your future, as well as hope you all get a great college and a great future ahead. Best of luck.